Before I begin, I'd like for everyone to take a look at this word and just think about it for a second. Vulnerability. What does this word mean to you? Does it make you feel anxious, even fearful? Just keep this in the back of your mind and continue thinking about it, and I'll come back to it later. But what I'm really here for today is I'd like to reveal some of my secrets to you, but only if you promise not to tell anyone, okay? Secret number 1. I have always wanted to be invisible. And come on, who hasn't wished for a superpower as a young child? Let's be honest here. But when I say I wanted to be invisible, I don't mean I ran around the playground as a toddler pretending I was Invisible Girl, someone invincible to all evil. Well, I might have done that as well. But when I say I want to be invisible, I mean that I've always had the desire to simply dull my existence, to bury the loudness of my being, and to expunge my existence, a mere 1 out of 7.5 billion, and to wipe away these distinctly East Asian features. Having an identity felt vulnerable, in the sense that this unique identity would expose me to the dangers of this precarious world. To me, invisibility was power. If I were invisible, I was safe and protected, living in this small, perfect bubble of my own. If nobody knew what I was thinking or feeling, nobody could hurt me. But at the same time, nobody could help me. And while I was so preoccupied with this idea of constructing an invisible haven, all my friends around me were becoming increasingly more and more visible. They were jumping at any opportunity given to them, taking them regardless of consequences, regardless of the risks, and regardless of the potential of failure, because to them, any opportunity was a good opportunity. And I was horrified by this. By hiding my opinions and thoughts, I was stuck existing in a stagnant state where my thoughts, though rapidly flourishing, had no definite direction to go through. It was as if I was a patch of flailing vines with no wall to cling onto. And then there was fear, a monster that had made itself into every nook and cranny of my brain, consuming my thoughts and even my aspirations, while masking itself as a guardian, protecting me from risk. But, you see, it's human nature to crave attention, and soon I began to have pains of hunger for visibility. And the more I suppressed this appetite, the more it grew, until I couldn't take it any longer. And that's when I realized the temporary nature of everything, how we are all temporary. And this isn't as much of a secret as it is something that is dreadfully overlooked. The fact that our existences are mere seconds in the lifespan of our universe. And when I realized how temporary everything was, how temporary fear was, how temporary dread was, temporary excitement, temporary opportunities, and temporary risks, I was able to step out of my bubble and take these risks. Because failure is temporary, and I was temporary. And if I wasn't taking these risks, my existence would go away in the blink of an eye. And the thing is, everyone is so absorbed in making the most out of their very own temporary lives to even care about someone else. I mean, obviously we do care, but come on. Do you care about anyone else as much as yourself? And that leads me to reveal my biggest secret to all of you. I have horrible, horrible stage fright. And hopefully you couldn't notice, but maybe you did, and that's okay too. Because what I want to tell everyone is that I've tried to hide my vulnerability. I've tried to shun this vulnerability, and it hasn't worked for me. Vulnerability, to me, is a word that terrifies me. It scares me, because I don't want to face it. But I've learned now to embrace this vulnerability, and to embrace the fact that I can be vulnerable and still be accepted. So let me be honest with all of you. I've embraced the fact that right now, there's nothing more I'd like to do than leave the confines of this tiny little red circle and get back to my seat. And before I do just that, I want to ask all of you, do you embrace your vulnerabilities? When was the last time you took an opportunity? When was the last time you took a risk? And when was the last time you told someone a secret? Thank you.